The ceaseless drizzle of a Seattle autumn in late 2006 was Sarah Jensen's constant companion. A soft, persistent hum against the window panes of her Capitol Hill apartment. Each morning, before the city truly woke, she'd nurse a strong black coffee, the aroma mingling with the faint scent of rain and old books, as she meticulously refined lines of code on her dual monitors. At 29, Sarah was a senior software engineer at Veridian Solutions, a mid-sized tech company nestled in the burgeoning South Lake Union district. Her life was a carefully orchestrated symphony of logic, algorithms, and the pursuit of elegant solutions to complex problems. Her apartment, a cozy blend of exposed brick and modern minimalist furniture, reflected her analytical mind. Organized, functional, yet with touches of warmth. A worn copy of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance on her bedside table, a flourishing monstera plant in the corner, and a perpetually open IDE on her desktop. She loved the quiet hum of her machines, the focused solitude broken only by the occasional ferry horn echoing across Lake Union. Her routine was sacrosanct. Early mornings, a quick jog around Volunteer Park, then the brisk walk down to her office, sometimes catching the faint glint of the Space Needle piercing the low clouds. For the past year, Sarah had poured her soul into a passion project she called Adeptify. It was an ambitious, AI-driven personalized learning platform designed to adapt to an individual's learning style, pace, and knowledge gaps in real time. She envisioned it revolutionizing education, making learning truly accessible and engaging for everyone. It was her magnum opus, a culmination of years of research, countless late nights, and a deeply held belief in the transformative power of technology. She'd meticulously crafted every aspect, from the core machine learning algorithms to the intuitive user interface, sketching wireframes in a leather-bound notebook she carried everywhere. Chloe Davis, a project manager at Veridian, was Sarah's closest confidant, ostensibly her best friend within the corporate ecosystem. Chloe was 28, with an ethereal quality, soft-spoken and perpetually clad in flowing, earth-toned fabrics. Her Pisces sun sign, as she often reminded Sarah with a gentle smile, meant she was deeply empathetic, intuitive, and a dreamer. She'd listen intently, eyes wide and earnest, as Sarah animatedly described Adeptify's latest breakthroughs over chai lattes at the Starbucks on Westlake Avenue. "Oh, Sarah, that's absolutely brilliant," Chloe would murmur, her voice like wind chimes. "You have such a gift for understanding people. This is truly going to change lives." Sarah, often consumed by the technical minutiae, found Chloe's enthusiastic, non-technical support invaluable. Chloe helped her frame the user experience to articulate the human impact of her complex code. Sarah felt a genuine bond, a shared excitement for innovation. She trusted Chloe implicitly, showing her early prototypes, sharing sensitive design documents, even discussing the strategic rollout plan for Adeptify within Veridian. She'd email Chloe drafts of her internal pitch deck, seeking feedback on the narrative flow, the corporate appeal. "Just give it a quick read, tell me if it lands," Sarah would type, attaching files with names like Adeptify Pitch Deck V3. "Too final, PPTX." Chloe would always respond promptly, with thoughtful, if slightly generalized, praise. Finally, in March 2007, Sarah felt Adeptify was ready for its internal debut. She submitted her proposal to Veridian's Innovation Committee, a powerful internal board tasked with identifying and funding groundbreaking new projects. Her pitch was meticulously crafted, comprehensive, and backed by a robust proof of concept. She imagined leading a dedicated team, finally bringing her vision to life on a grand scale. The anticipation was exhilarating, a nervous flutter in her stomach that felt like a prelude to something monumental. Weeks later, the email arrived, not from the Innovation Committee, but a company-wide announcement from CEO Robert Sterling. The subject line read, "Veridian Solutions unveils Project Ascend, a new era of personalized learning." Sarah's heart pounded as she clicked it open. The accompanying press release described a revolutionary, AI-driven educational platform. Her breath hitched. The project lead was none other than Chloe Davis. A cold dread seeped into her bones. She clicked through to the internal presentation slides linked in the announcement. The visual style was different, slicker, more corporate than her own minimalist aesthetic, but the core concept, the innovative adaptation engine, the user flow, it was Adeptify. Her Adeptify, Chloe's face, radiant and confident, beamed from a promotional photo. The betrayal hit Sarah with the force of a physical blow. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled, recognizing her own meticulously phrased mission statement, her specific examples, even a quirky anecdote she'd included about her niece struggling with algebra. Chloe had simply rebranded it, given it a new name, Ascend, and put her own name at the top. The Pisces friend, who had listened so intently, who had offered such gentle encouragement, had systematically plundered her intellectual property. The official launch presentation for Ascend was held in Veridian's Grand Auditorium a week later. Robert Sterling introduced Chloe with effusive praise, hailing her as a visionary leader. Sarah sat in the back row, her hands clenched so tightly her knuckles were white. Chloe, dressed in a sharp, tailored suit Sarah had never seen her wear, commanded the stage with an air of practiced confidence. She spoke of her passion for education, her years of research, and the team's collective genius in bringing Ascend to fruition. Not once was Sarah Jensen's name mentioned. During the Q&A, Sarah, numb with disbelief and a simmering rage, forced herself to raise her hand. "Chloe," she began, her voice strained but steady, "the adaptive learning algorithm, it's quite unique. Could you elaborate on its origins? Specifically, what was the inspiration for the dynamic feedback loop architecture?" It was a highly technical detail, a signature component of Adeptify, one that Chloe had always struggled to grasp. Chloe met her gaze, a faint, almost imperceptible flicker in her eyes, then smiled serenely. "Ah, Sarah, a wonderful question. The dynamic feedback loop is indeed central to Ascend's innovation. It evolved organically through countless brainstorming sessions, a true testament to the collaborative spirit we fostered. We've been iterating on these concepts for quite some time, haven't we all?" She smoothly pivoted, crediting a vague team effort and collective ideation, deftly sidestepping any direct attribution. Robert Sterling, beaming from the front row, nodded approvingly, effectively shutting down any further probing. Sarah felt a profound sense of isolation, watching her intellectual child paraded as another's. The subsequent days were a blur of cold fury and raw heartbreak. Sarah confronted Chloe in a deserted meeting room. "How could you, Chloe?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "Ascend is Adeptify, every single detail. You stole my idea." Chloe's carefully constructed innocence was unwavering. Her eyes welled up, her lower lip quivering. "Sarah, how can you say such a thing? I thought we were friends, sharing ideas, inspiring each other. Of course, there are similarities. Great minds think alike, don't they? We work in the same space, we're bound to come up with similar concepts. I must have subconsciously absorbed some of your brilliance, you're so creative." She dabbed a tear that hadn't quite fallen with a delicate finger. "I'm truly hurt you'd accuse me. It diminishes all the hard work I've put in." The gaslighting was masterful, the emotional manipulation chilling. Chloe, the empathetic Pisces, turned the tables, making Sarah feel like the aggressor, the jealous colleague. Sarah tried to escalate it to HR, to her manager, but without undeniable, irrefutable evidence of intellectual theft, it was her word against Chloe's. Chloe had already established herself as the visionary, the leader. Sarah's claims sounded like bitter resentment, professional jealousy. Her manager, a pragmatic man named David, advised her to move on, hinting that challenging a popular new initiative could jeopardize her career. "Look, Sarah," he'd said, avoiding her gaze, "ideas are a dime a dozen. Execution is everything. Chloe got there first." The weight of the betrayal was crushing. Sarah felt hollowed out, her passion extinguished. The vibrant code on her screen now seemed meaningless. She spent sleepless nights staring at the ceiling of her apartment, the persistent Seattle rain outside mirroring the tears that refused to fall. She walked aimlessly along Lake Union, the city lights blurred by the mist, contemplating quitting, leaving tech, disappearing. Her once sacred routine felt like a cruel parody. She felt dirty, violated, as if a part of her soul had been ripped away and paraded under a false banner. But amidst the despair, a flicker of something else began to ignite. Not just anger, but a cold, analytical resolve. Chloe had stolen the idea, the presentation, the high-level pitch. But Chloe wasn't a software engineer, she was a project manager. She couldn't have stolen the deep, intricate implementation, the true secret sauce that made Adeptify unique. Sarah remembered the meticulous way she had worked. She wasn't just a coder, she was a documentarian. Every iteration of Adeptify, every key architectural decision, every core algorithm refinement had been logged. Not just in Git commits, but in a private, encrypted cloud storage she maintained, complete with detailed explanations and timestamps. She had hundreds of entries in her physical leather-bound notebook, dated, scrawled with diagrams and complex mathematical notations that Chloe wouldn't have understood, let alone copied. She had emailed early, highly technical drafts of the core algorithm to herself, even a few to a trusted former university professor, Dr. Elena Petrova, under the guise of academic exploration, months before Chloe's discovery. Chloe had copied the skin, the shiny veneer, but not the beating heart. Ascend, Sarah realized, would likely be a shallow imitation, lacking the robust, truly adaptive core that only she had engineered. Chloe had grasped the marketing, the buzzwords, but not the fundamental technical challenges and their ingenious solutions. This was Sarah's hidden advantage. This was her resilience. The plan formed slowly, deliberately, like a complex algorithm unfolding. She wouldn't fight Chloe within Veridian. The corporate structure was too slow, too biased. She would fight her on the market. She would build Adeptify, her Adeptify, the superior one, outside Veridian's walls. Sarah spent the next few months in a self-imposed exile, working her normal hours at Veridian with a detached professionalism, her face a mask of polite indifference. But her evenings and weekends were consumed by a furious, almost obsessive drive. She rented a small, nondescript co-working space in Fremont, far from Veridian's orbit. She pulled up her old Adeptify files, not to mourn, but to rebuild, to enhance. She refined the core machine learning algorithm, making it even more efficient, more intuitive, more powerful than her initial concept. She focused on a crucial, proprietary element she'd only vaguely described in her stolen pitch deck. A unique, emotional intelligence module that adapted content based on user engagement and frustration signals. This was the part Chloe never even knew existed, let alone understood. She reached out to Dr. Petrova, her former professor, explaining her situation in careful, anonymized terms. Dr. Petrova, a veteran in AI research, was intrigued by the refined Adeptify concept, and recognizing Sarah's exceptional talent and the clear injustice, offered not just advice, but also connected her to a small angel investor group in Palo Alto. Sarah secured a modest seed round, enough to bootstrap her venture. In late 2007, Sarah quietly submitted her resignation from Veridian, citing burnout and a desire for new challenges. Chloe, maintaining her innocent facade, offered a saccharine farewell. "Oh, Sarah, I'm so sorry to see you go. But I understand, the corporate grind can be so exhausting. Do keep in touch." Sarah simply nodded, a tight, polite smile plastered on her face, already visualizing Chloe's eventual downfall. Sarah Jensen, now CEO of Adeptify Labs, officially launched her startup from her cramped Fremont office. She hired a small, dedicated team of developers and designers, carefully vetting each one, haunted by the ghost of Chloe's betrayal. They worked tirelessly, fueled by Sarah's vision and an unwavering belief in their product. Adeptify Labs focused initially on a niche market, highly specialized vocational training for adult learners, a segment Veridian's generic Ascend had completely overlooked. This allowed Adeptify to build a solid user base and refine its platform away from direct competition. Within a year, Adeptify was gaining significant traction. Early adopters raved about its truly personalized approach, its uncanny ability to anticipate learning needs, and its engaging interface. Tech blogs started picking up the story, praising Adeptify Labs for its disruptive innovation and human-centered AI. Articles began to appear, subtly, then overtly, comparing Adeptify to Veridian's struggling Ascend. Veridian's Ascend, built on Chloe's superficial understanding and lack of true technical leadership, was faltering. It lacked the nuanced adaptability of Adeptify, its AI often producing generic or irrelevant content. Users complained about its clunky interface and its inability to truly learn their needs. Chloe, a project manager, struggled to troubleshoot the deep technical issues, often deferring to engineers who, without Sarah's original vision, were simply trying to patch a fundamentally flawed system. The dynamic feedback loop she had so confidently touted was proving to be a rudimentary, ineffectual mechanism. The market began to speak. Adeptify's user base swelled, its revenue climbing steadily. Ascend, meanwhile, became an internal burden for Veridian, a costly failure. The moment of full, undeniable vindication arrived in spring 2009 at the annual Seattle Tech Innovators Summit. Sarah Jensen, CEO of the rapidly expanding Adeptify Labs, was invited to deliver a keynote speech. Chloe Davis, noticeably frazzled and looking far less composed than she once did, was in the audience, still employed by Veridian, likely trying to save face for the Ascend project. Sarah walked onto the brightly lit stage, the hum of the crowd a familiar comfort now. She spoke with passion and clarity about the journey of Adeptify, about the arduous process of innovation, and the importance of integrity in building truly revolutionary technology. She showcased Adeptify's unparalleled emotional intelligence module, detailing the complex algorithms and the extensive research that underpinned it. Then, a pivotal slide appeared on the massive screen behind her. It displayed a series of dated screenshots, code snippets, and scan pages from her old leather-bound notebook. Each item meticulously documented the evolution of Adeptify, with clear, unassailable timestamps dating back to early 2006, over a year before Chloe's Ascend announcement. She didn't mention Chloe by name, didn't point fingers. She didn't need to. The message was implicit, undeniable, and devastating. True innovation, Sarah concluded, her gaze sweeping across the audience, momentarily lingering on a pale-faced Chloe, is not merely about an idea. It's about the relentless pursuit of its deepest truth, the meticulous crafting of its every detail, and the integrity to see it through, authentically. The applause was thunderous. Industry analysts immediately understood. The tech press, already aware of the whispers surrounding Ascend's origins, published scathing exposés. Veridian leadership, now facing public scrutiny and a rapidly deteriorating market position for Ascend, initiated an immediate, aggressive internal review. Chloe's carefully constructed facade of innocent brilliance shattered. Her lack of true technical understanding, her inability to articulate the project's deeper mechanics, and now the undeniable evidence of plagiarism, became impossible to ignore. Ascend was quickly and quietly shelved, its failure a monument to stolen ambition. Chloe Davis, stripped of her position and her professional reputation, faded into obscurity, another casualty of corporate hubris. Sarah, now a respected leader in the tech world, felt a profound sense of closure. The revenge was complete, not through petty retribution, but through the undeniable triumph of her own superior vision and relentless hard work. The sting of betrayal still lingered, a faint scar, but it no longer defined her. She had not only reclaimed her intellectual property, but had forged a path forward, proving that genuine innovation, built on integrity and true talent, could not be stifled, only delayed. The gray Seattle sky still brought its familiar drizzle, But now, for Sarah Jensen, it simply felt like a backdrop to a future she had meticulously, and rightfully, built for herself.